Welcome to Knicksfandom. This is an independent New York Knicks fan-based podcast, which was created by fans for fans. The show is hosted by LA Blackwell, Danny, and Flau. They'll discuss the issues surrounding the Knicks, the NBA, and various other sports-related topics. Join us. It's going to be a heck of a ride.
Nothing can stop us. We're all the way up. Hey everyone, this is episode 15 of our podcast known as Knicksfandom. It's great to be able to bring you back another exciting episode. I'm your host, LA Blackwell. I hope all our listeners are doing well out there. I'm very glad to be joined by my co-host, Danny D. How you doing, Danny D?
I'm good, LA. Just another day. It's the slogan we say. What's going on, man?
Very good, very good. Went through a lot for people to get back here where we're here. As usual, I'm also joined by my fellow co-host, Flo. How you been, Flo?
LA, I'm great today, man. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. We back on the air. And a lot's been going on in the NBA since we've been having our last podcast. And we're going to start with an old segment known as Off the Cuff. And we can confirm a big deal just went down regarding the NBA with the Kings and the Pelicans. Demarcus Cousins was traded from the Kings to the New Orleans Pelicans for Buddy Hield, Tyreke Evans, Langston Galloway, and a 2017 first-round pick, as well as a second-round pick from Philly for the 2017 season. This was a big deal. It was talked about back and forth, but wasn't really confirmed until the last second. So basically, fellas, what y'all think about this deal that went down? Starting with you, Flo. What you think about this deal?
LA, honestly, the biggest loser in this trade has to be Boogie Cousins. And the reason why I say that, he's going to lose $30 million based on this trade. Keep in mind, if he had re-signed with Sacramento, it would have been 5 years, $210 million. Now, by being traded to the Pelicans, he can re-sign with them for only 5 years, $180 million. You know, for an NBA player, losing $1 million is not a big deal. But $30 million is a lot of money for him to lose. So that's, he's a loser in this trade. As opposed to Sacramento, if you look at it from their perspective, I believe Boogie Cousins had his 19th technical foul. And they played a game, I believe it was February 8th, against the Boston Celtics. And they crushed them 108-92. And when the owner sat down and watched this game, he started imagining life without Boogie Cousins. Keep in mind that their owner is a big fan of Boogie, but he realizes at the end of the day, you know what? It's time to pull the trigger on this move. He was able to get 3 number 1 draft picks. And let me explain that in full detail. Buddy Hield, first-round draft pick last year's draft. That's 1. 2, my man Tyreke Evans, a former first-round draft pick and former Rookie of the Year that used to play for the Sacramento Kings going back there. Plus, keep in mind, they're getting a first-round pick for the Pelicans. So you're getting 3 number 1s plus a second-round pick that's controlled by Philly. I believe that's the 53rd pick that they're receiving. That's a good deal. To me, in my opinion, it's a good deal. The biggest issue is going to be for the Pelicans if they can re-sign Boogie. Keep in mind that, he's from Mobile, Alabama. That's 2 hours away from New Orleans. So that's going to be the key for New Orleans. Can they make their playoff push by acquiring Boogie, and can they re-sign him?
Okay. Thank you, Flo. We'll talk about it in detail a little more. How about you, Danny D? What you think about this deal overall?
Overall, it was a good deal for the Pelicans. I think Sacramento getting back. I heard some reports that the GM from Sacramento, Demarcus, said that Buddy Hield could be the next Steph Curry. I guess. Yeah, okay. I didn't. All right. If you say so. But then you're giving up. Don't forget, let's not forget about Langston Galloway that also got in the trade that they cut today. But we're going to talk about that in detail. But then again, you're giving up somebody who's a guaranteed 2010 guy. Even though his ups and downs and stuff like that, he didn't compete. They're like, oh, Boogie, he's not a competitor and things like that. He really had doo-doo around him, surrounding, So we got to see. I think it's a good move for the Pelicans. Now they just got to, like you said, re-sign them. And can they put pieces around him? And how is the dynamic between Anthony Davis and Boogie going to work? Because Boogie never played with a bigger or star caliber like Anthony Davis. He's no longer the main man on the block now. That's Anthony Davis' team. But Anthony Davis is not as vocal as Boogie. So those are the two dynamics you have to look at to see if this thing is going to work out. And for Sacramento, they better hope it works, because you gave away your franchise. Instead of trying to build around him, you gave him away.
I definitely agree with both of your points. Thank you, Danny D. Right now, I think on the clock is Alvin Gentry. I think he's the one that really has to put this thing together. He's supposed to be known as an offensive guru. And you have to really see what he can do with this team. They still got Holiday. He's a very good point guard, so a lot of pressure going to be on him. They're solid inside. You can't deny the talent that Boogie brings, as well as AD. But the question is, like you stated, Flo, is how is he going to get along with the players around him, as well as the coaching staff and things of that nature. He hasn't really been asked to win. And now he's going to be asked to be in a winning environment. They're fighting for a playoff position, trying to get into that A spot, But we have to see what's going to happen if they can put around them. Talent-wise, they need some shooters. They need, a small forward that can really drive, somebody that can take the ball besides Holiday and really create. To me, I think you're putting a lot of faith in Boogie right now. I mean, I understand why you had to do it, the talent. You had to take that chance. If it was me, I might have did it with Okafor, though. I think I'd win more of that deal. You still could have saved some money. You still would have got a big man. And you could have went and got another piece that you didn't have to be so worried about fitting wise, like you said, the flagrant fouls and things like that, or the technical fouls, I should say. Although he did have his off the court stuff as well, but that's made us a route I might have went. But we'll see. The talent you can't deny if they get the right coaching. I'm hearing some things. If Gentry does struggle, Calipari might be talked back over there. I wouldn't do that if I was them, but we'll see what happens. Still early, and also for Sacramento side, like you said, they basically get everything up in that deal. Right now, they wasn't winning anyway with Boogie. So, as they always say, you could win with him, you could lose with him. It really didn't matter at this point. It's hard to make a deal for a player like that when basically he's not coming back. And you also dealing with a player that can't fit on a lot of teams because of the attitude issues as well as the talent. Being a center, he may not fit on everybody's team that's out there with the coaching staff and other players that they may have. I think if you did like Golden State or something like that, it'd been a little easier because you're not asking them to do but so much. But we'll see what happens as time goes along. Speaking of another deal that went down in the NBA during this week was also Serge Ibaka, was traded to the Toronto Raptors for Terrence Ross and a draft pick. This was a major deal that went down as well. And what you think about this deal, Danny D?
It was a great move for Toronto. You get Ibaka. He's not the old Ibaka that was out in Thunder. But as long as he gets some minutes and be consistent and get him the boards, he can bring the toughness that Toronto needs with Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. Those boys can really get it together, and they really can be a contender in the East. I don't know contender messing with LeBron James and stuff like that, but they definitely can give them a run for the money. They lost a good Terrence Ross was a good role player coming off the bench as a sixth player, but it's a real, real good move for Toronto. Orlando picking up another guard. I guess you have another one. I don't know, but it was a good move for Toronto. I liked it.
Okay, thank you there, D, for that evaluation. How about you, Flo? What you thought about that other deal that went down?
LA, believe it or not, there's actually one GM in the NBA that's worse than Phil Jackson, and that's the Orlando GM. What did you get back in return? You gave up Serge Ibaka, a power forward that's played in NBA Finals in OKC with James Harden, the Beard, and Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. And you got back Terrence Ross only? You got a role player back? Are you kidding me?
2017 first round pick. They got that as well.
You got a 2017 first round pick from Toronto, but that pick is probably going to finish near the end of the first round, not in the top 5. That was a desperation trade by Orlando. What they were trying to do pretty much was they wanted to make sure they slide Aaron Gordon back to the 4 position because they realized that he's not that good playing the 3. He's comfortable playing the 4. So this was a desperation trade. And in Toronto's end, it's a great trade for them. Even though Serge Ibaka is a unrestricted free agent at the end of the season, keep in mind that he's playing with 2 All-Stars with Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. He's got an opportunity to go back to the playoffs. and hopefully make some noise with Toronto. And again, a rim protector. He can score. He can shoot the three ball. This guy is getting better and better each year, man. And that's a great trade for Toronto. Definitely a great trade. Horrible trade by Orlando. And Phil Jackson should be home right now. Should be proud of himself. There's actually one GM that's worse than him in the NBA. He should be very happy.
Oh, man. Thank you, Flo. I hear you. It was a tough trade for Toronto. I mean, not for Toronto, for Orlando. But I love the trade for Toronto. That's exactly what they needed. They needed power forward to go against LeBron and go against, Kevin Love and company. And this is basically what we've been looking for the last year or two. So now you got Valanciunas up there. You got him. You also can move. You also have Lowry and DeRozan. So basically all your spots is pretty much filled. Instead of small forward, you're hoping the player you have there can get back to where it used to be. But, that's neither here nor there right now. You had to make that move. It definitely fits in what they're trying to do defensive-wise as well as offensive-wise because he can spread the floor a little bit as well with his 15-footer, even three-pointers sometimes. So I love the deal from their side. For Orlando, it's a bad move on top of a bad move. I mean, you traded Oladipo. You basically rented this guy for like 3 to 4 months, and you didn't get nothing out of it. You gave up Oladipo, which you could have kept, and you gave up a draft pick, that 11th overall pick last year, I believe, when you just could have kept it or you could have traded it and got something better for it at this point. And yeah, Ilyasova, he was also in that deal as well. So it's just a deal where Orlando looks like they're lost right now. So we'll see what happens as that goes along. Orlando's still going to sputter. Toronto definitely is right there in the top 2 or 3 going for the Eastern Conference Finals right now in my eyes. Especially with Kevin Love being hurt. This definitely could push them right over the top. If they stay together well and they mesh quickly, we'll see what happens as the season go along. Thank you, fellas. And that was our off the cuff. And also, did anybody else have anything else they want to jump in with that off the cuff topic before we get to the next segment?
LA, I wanted to add 2 things in regards to the Boogie trade.
Okay, that's fine, Flo.
With the Boogie trade, keep in mind, you're going to slide back Anthony Davis at the 4 position, which is his natural position. You put Boogie at the 5. Now, the Pelicans have an issue. Terrence Jones has demanded a trade. He was the backup 4, and he wants out of New Orleans because his minutes are going to be diminished with this Boogie trade. So definitely he should be available on the trade market. He's a good backup power forward. He played well in Houston, a couple years in Houston. I think the biggest issue he had was he really had a problem playing with Dwight. He had no issues playing with the Beard, but more issues playing with Dwight. So keep in mind he'll be, a potential player that's looking to get traded out of New Orleans.
Okay. That definitely could affect the trade because they need bodies right now. They gave a lot to get them. Anything else with that, Flo? Thanks for that, Phil.
Also, they also got Omar Caspi, which is a backup small forward that can shoot the 3. That should help the Pelicans out coming off the bench. I don't know if they're going to plug him in the starting lineup, but coming off the bench, he should be a good fit.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely something to look out to. They definitely could use that right now. Could use some shooters and things of that nature. Some guys that, create on their own as well. Because they're going to kill the boards and kill inside at the very least. But thank you very much for that, fellas. And also because it's a special episode regarding us, NBA All-Star Edition, we want to focus on some of the NBA All-Star related topics. Speaking of the first one up would be the Team World defeated Team USA 150-141 in the 2017 Rising Stars Challenge. The game was led by Jamal Murray, who finished with 36 points and 11 assists, as well as Frank Kaminsky, who led Team USA with 27 points in the event. But we had 2 Knicks players that also played in that event, which I want to spotlight for a few seconds or a few minutes, which was Willie Hernan Gomez, finished with 2 points and 6 rebounds, and KP, Kristaps Porzingis, finished with 24 points and 10 rebounds in a winning effort. So did y'all have any efforts regarding this game, fellas? Starting with you, Flo.
Well, with Hernan Gomez, he's still developing. He should be the starting center for the New York Knicks for the foreseeable future. They need to just have Noah on the bench and just be a mentor to him. In regards to Porzingis, he looked like he was healthy in a long time. I know he had some Achilles issues. He played well. Not only played well, but also keep in mind he won the skills competition. So there's a bright spot for the New York Knicks organization. So I'm very proud of both players. They play well together with Porzingis at the 4 and with Hernan Gomez at the 5. So there's a future in New York with these two players, two building blocks.
Thank you very much, Flo. How about you, Dan? Any evaluation regarding that?
Just happy them young boys went out there and did their thing, man. Got a W and just represent the Knicks. So we're having a horrible season.
That's very true. It's one of the few bright spots right now. I concur with both of you guys. It was just good seeing him out there. Hopefully he'll be out there in the real All-Star game down the road. That's what this is, give you a little taste of. Main thing is nobody got hurt. That's the one thing I look out for during All-Star festivities, which jumps me right into the other issues that, the other competition that took place, which was a skill challenge, which you stated earlier, Flo, which was won by Kristaps Porzingis in the finals over Gordon Hayward. Also, the three-point competition was won by Eric Gordon over Kyrie Irving. And the slam dunk competition was won by Glenn Robinson III over Derrick Jones Jr. Any things regarding these competitions overall, fellas, that stand out in your mind? How about you, Danny D?
Man, that stuff was doo-doo. I'll be honest with you. I ain't like it at all. I ain't like the slam dunk competition was horrible. And I'm just happy that Eric Gordon won a three-point contest because he should have been a Knick. Honestly, we should have got out of him.
You didn't like the drone, man?
That's right.
You didn't like the drone that took 4 or 5 times to finally get it?
Man, the drone, man. I didn't like that drone. I didn't like none of the dunk competition. He should have droned and sat on the bench, man. He wasn't even healthy, man. How you gonna be a slam dunk competition? You hurt. Sit on the bench, man.
I agree.
Thank you.
How about you, Flo? What's your thoughts regarding those 3 events?
Honestly, I've seen better All-Star, Saturday night competition. This is probably one of the worst they've had in a long time.
I gotta agree. The thing that hurts it, once again, I always say with the slam dunk competition, I mean, you had Zach LaVine, he was hurt. You also had I just like want to see the main players play. Like I still would like to see LeBron enter it. I mean, we saw a lot of Jordan and Dominique back in the day who were in it. Even Kobe did one year. I think when things like that, when the people that was in it before didn't compete, it hurts the overall flavor of it sometimes. I thought 3-point competition was all right. I was going for Gordon, but it hurts it again that Curry didn't want to be in it. So, it's supposed to be a fan type of competitions, and, it should be towards a fan with some of the players they really wanted to see. And I think that kind of hurt it this year a little more than other years. Something to think about. But the one thing that did stand out was, to me, was Porzingis and the skill challenge, which I was happy he won, but I was a little worried in the finals when he ran up with Gordon Hayward. I'm not sure if y'all noticed it during the layup. And they didn't get tangled, but it was real close for a second. And I would hate to see a star player get hurt in this type of competition. Did y'all notice that?
Not really, to be honest with you. I really didn't see that, but that's a great observation by yourself. You definitely don't want one of your star players to get hurt, in an exhibition competition.
Very true. That's just something I got a little hesitant about. It wasn't too bad, but it was something to look at. Might look a little closer just looking from the screen, but it's something to think about. But, big win for Porzingis and the Knicks. Like you said, it's one of the few things to look forward to. And lastly, the other thing that took place during the All-Star festivities was the All-Star game itself, which was a game which was won by the West and 192 to 182. And AD basically won the MVP for that game. It was a dunk fest, basically a lob city. No defense was played, which is why I'm not a really big fan of this type of game. But it is what it is. The guys try to make sure he did well in his hometown. We've seen that happen before. And now we'll see what AD can do with Boogie as well. Any thoughts on that game that stood out to y'all guys? Starting with you, Danny D.
Now, this offense, dunks, and dunks. That's about it on that one. No defense. They got to start putting some stuff on guys not getting hurt or try to switch it up a little bit so people can be more interested in watching the All-Star game instead of just running up, 85, 83 at halftime. So.
Very true. Very true. How about you, Flo?
I mean, the only person that was probably 100% healthy was Boogie Cousins, and he only played like 2 minutes.
That's it. Did y'all see the clip when he found out that he was getting traded?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Funny,
that's during a press conference, and the gentleman just talking in his ear. That's a little bit crazy. And he was like, really?
Yeah. It was funny. If you listeners didn't see it, y'all got to check it out. It's only like maybe about 5 to 10 seconds, maybe 10, 15 seconds. But just his expression was like, well, whatever. And then he went right back to the reporters, and he's like, yeah, I love New Orleans, man. This is where I want to be. It was something to see, Because right there, you could just see in his face exactly what's happening. So just something to check out. You also could check it out on our Twitter account. I posted it there as well. So when you get a chance, Knicks_fandom, take a look at it. You might find it interesting. But thanks, fellas. That's the main issue regarding the All-Star festivities. And we're just going to jump into our next segment. And that leads right into our next topic, folks, which is our weekly Knicks Roundup. Since our last podcast on Wednesday, 2/15/2017, the Knicks played the Thunder, which they lost 116-105. And now the Knicks record currently stands at 23-34 with a home record of 14-15 and a 9-19 road record. They are currently 12 plays if playoffs start at this moment. Regarding this last game since our podcast, what do you think about that game, fellas? Starting with you, Flo. Anything stands out in particular regarding that Knicks game with the Thunder and the overall? We'll go to the overall afterwards, but just anything in particular.
Interesting. The Knicks bench was outscored 30-15 by OKC. Also, they were out-rebounded in this game by OKC 48-39. The Knicks were shooting like 56% in the first half. Second half, they shot 40%. Also, turnovers. Once again, Knicks had 15 turnovers. OKC had 12. And OKC had more assists than the Knicks, 21-19. And again, Danny D has mentioned this since the first episode of the podcast. Free throw attempts is killing the Knicks. OKC had 31 attempts to the Knicks 14.
That's it in a nutshell. How about you, Danny D? Thank you, Flo, for your thoughts on that game.
Same thing like Flo been saying, like we've been saying all the time, man. We were up, then we started playing like doo-doo. We can't blame on Noah because Noah didn't play. He was out. He was out injured. Brandon Jennings didn't play. He was out injured. Thank goodness for Willie Herman Gomez coming off the bench, having 8 and 10. But I don't know. Just got another loss. There's nothing else we can say about that, man. Just another loss.
Thank you, Danny D. Y'all basically breaking it down to where the Knicks are right now. This is a podcast revolved around Knicks, so we got to talk about right now, even though it's not going well. To me, it's the same things we've been talking about since the very beginning. They're giving up way too many points, 116 points. I know that's the way the Thunder plays, but you got to try to slow them down. They didn't do that at all. As you already spoke about the free throws, that's atrocious. You can't have that. We also got out-rebounded, like 61-42, which is horrible, as well as the fast break points was 25-8. It's just, the Knicks have been doing this for the last couple of games. They're not imposing their will on any of the teams that they're playing. Everybody's playing the same way they've been playing right when they face the Knicks. Nuggets played the same way inside, was running up and down. They outscored the Knicks. The Suns played the way they wanted to play. Even the Lakers had a big game against the Knicks, and they played the way they wanted to play. And the same thing with the Thunder. They're not imposing their will, not playing no defense. Melo's playing, he played well, pretty well, 30 points, 7 rebounds. Rose did okay offensive-wise. He's not really going to stop Westbrook, but he didn't really even slow him down either. Same thing with Lee. He had a pretty good game, 16 points. But, he didn't really stop on the defensive side. That was an issue, too. And once again, Hernan Gomez did well. He had like 8 points, I think, and close to 10 boards. But the issue, to me, is you got a lot of – I don't understand the minutes in the rotation he's giving to certain of these guys. Lance Thomas, again, don't want to keep picking on him, but 15 minutes, 3 points, 4 rebounds. And you didn't play Cuz at all. No decision. Why? Same thing with Boogie, gave him 18 minutes, and 6 points, 2 assists. I mean, you could give more time to, Indoor and to Cuz at that point to me. So the rotation, the minutes with some of those things is a little shocking. I like to see a little more Quinn out there. He only got 11 minutes, but he had 4 rebounds, 4 blocks in those 11 minutes. But, Knicks got to do better. They got to figure out their buyers and sellers. Trade deadline is going to happen this week, so we'll see what happens in regards to that. Any other thoughts regarding the Knicks right now, fellas? You could just jump out there if anybody has any thoughts. If not, I'll just move on.
LA.
Go ahead, Flo.
Let's free Courtney Lee from New York. Let's move him. Can we get a draft pick in return? Why are we holding him hostage? Let's move on. Let's start Ron Baker at the 2 guard position right now and trade Courtney Lee. Let him go on to a playoff team. You look at Courtney Lee's history. He's always been traded, near the trade deadline to a playoff team. Let's move him now to a contender, and let's get what we can get for him. We can get a second-round pick or 2 second-round picks or 1 first-rounder, a late first-rounder, and a second-rounder. Pull the trigger on the deal. Stop holding this man hostage. Free Courtney Lee.
Free the locks, man. Well, if you can get a first-rounder, I'm going for it. Right now, it's not helping the Knicks. You also get it out of that contract. It's not a huge one, but it's not really a contract you want to keep. But this team is not trying to fight for a playoff position. And right now, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. What you think about that, Danny D?
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, we free Courtney Lee. Who's going to pick up that salary, man? That's $50 million, man. That's $50+ million for that guy. He want that cash, man. He want that cash.
That's true.
But, gentlemen, let's keep in mind when Phil contacted the Clippers in regards to Carmelo Anthony, what did the Clippers say? We're interested in Courtney Lee. How come Phil did not respond back to that?
Not sure. He didn't. He don't want to make the move. At least not this time.
Now's the time to make that move. What's holding them back? They're not making the playoffs right now. And if they do make a playoff push, you're going to be facing the Cavaliers in the first round and get swept. Is it worth the embarrassment?
I hear you. There's a lot of teams that could definitely use his services right now. I was looking at some teams, kind of like Washington, which we talked about them last week or so. The Wizards are actually doing pretty well this year, and they're fighting for that, 3rd or 4th position. They definitely could use some players off the bench. They were looking at Lou Williams, I heard as well, but they need some spark because they have no bench at all. Their bench is really struggling. They could use some consistent scoring. He would have definitely fit in right there. He's a, 3-and-D type of guy. So I could definitely see a move like that, but I just don't want to take a bunch of scraps if that's all we're going to get. And, see what happened with there. That's one of the few teams I see out there could be possible destination for a elite type player. Any other issues you wanted to talk about regarding the Knicks, fellas?
LA, I want to add to Washington for a second.
Go ahead, Flo.
With the Wizards, you're correct. They have no bench, and they're looking to acquire players to fill up their bench. Courtney Lee would be a great addition to their bench. The Wizards are offering first-round picks just to get a player in return. I don't see why Phil can't pick up the phone and dial the Wizards and get this deal done. Move Courtney Lee. Stop holding the man hostage. Get a first-round pick. You need to acquire draft picks. You can't move Carmelo Anthony, all right? Phil has to understand that. He's got a no-trade clause. There's only 2 teams he can be traded to, Cleveland and the Clippers. Both teams do not have any cap space to pull the trigger on a deal. So why not you just move Courtney Lee? You're kind of stuck with Joakim Noah right now, unless you can get on the phone with Portland and see you can move him for Evan Turner, and that's a great wash right there. Other than that, move Courtney Lee. Let's see what Ron Baker can do at the 2-guard position starting for the rest of the season. What's the problem, Phil? Why can't Phil pull the trigger on a trade when he's supposed to pull the trigger on a trade? Why is he such a coward?
Oh, tough words. Hey, I hear you. Knicks fans need something to look forward to. Hopefully he's on the horn making something happen, but we'll see. As time will tell. That's a great equalizer. But thank you, Flo. Appreciate that. And we're going to do a quick housekeeping right now. Stay tuned, listeners. First, a big thank you to our listeners out there. We definitely appreciate every one of you for tuning into our podcast. Please make sure to subscribe in iTunes and to our brand new YouTube channel. We are really trying to move up in those rankings, and subscriptions plays a big part in their ranking systems. Also, leave a comment on iTunes and feel free to share our podcast with your friends. It would be greatly appreciated. Lastly, our show can also be found on Stitcher, Google Play, Pocket Cast, and some of the most recent shows can now be found on SoundCloud as well. If you want to reach us directly, be sure to contact us on our Facebook fan page and our new email address, known as Knicksfandom@gmail.com. And also our brand new Twitter account, Knicks_fandom. Thanks again. Now back to our regularly scheduled podcast. And we're back, listeners. Thank you very much for that quick break. And we're going to jump into our final segment for the day. Because we had the All-Star break, we'd like to take a quick peek at what players or coaches should be leading in regards to the upcoming season-ending awards. And we're going to start with the Executive of the Year. Starting with you, Flo. Who you had for the Executive Year right now if you had to make a vote?
Believe it or not, LA, my Executive of the Year is Dennis Lindsey, the General Manager of the Utah Jazz. He did an excellent job in acquiring George Hill. Right now, if the playoffs would begin today, the Jazz should be the 5th seed. So, excellent job by Dennis Lindsey.
Okay, thank you, Flo. Appreciate that. How about you, Dan D? Who you got for your Executive of the Year?
Executive of the Year is going to have to go to Danny Ainge for the Boston Celtics. Got them guys playing. Isaiah Thomas is an all-star. Al Horford is playing like I don't know, but they're doing their thing out there. I'm going for the Celtics right now. Danny Ainge.
Flo's main man, Danny Ainge. All right, that's cool. For me right now, I'm picking the Warriors by Myers. I got to give him credit for Kevin Durant, even though he really shouldn't get it, but it's still under his watch. He also got Jaja for cheap, and he even got Patrick McCall. I like him up for a second-round pick. So to me, that's my leading vote getter for Executive of the Year for the Golden State Warriors. All right. How about Coach of the Year award? Starting with you this time, Danny D. Who's your pick right now?
Right now, I'm going all Celtics once again. I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm going Brad Stevens. He's doing his thing for the Celtics. Got them guys playing. You got Marcus Smart doing his thing. I got to give it to Brad Stevens. And remember, what is it? He's like a second or third year coach. He's a young guy, and he's doing his thing. And he got these guys to buy in, and they're listening. So I'm going with Brad Stevens.
Very good pick. Very good pick. Thank you, Danny D. I hear you with that one. How about you, Flo? What's your pick?
Great minds think alike. I'm going to go with Brad Stevens. Pop, I love you. I definitely would have voted for you, but I have to go with Brad Stevens. Boston Celtics. He's doing an excellent job with Isaiah Thomas. And right now, they're the second best team in the East right now. He's doing an excellent job. A coach coming out of Butler, making the adjustment from the college into the NBA. Brad Stevens.
Okay, thank you, Flo. Appreciate that as well. For me, I thought a little bit different. I got to pick Mike D'Antoni. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I got to give credit where credit is due. This team definitely embodies him as a coach. He's hard in playing as an MVP candidate, and they playing well even after losing to Dwight Howard. So, to me, they're doing the threes, run up and down the court. This is definitely D'Antoni fingerprints all over it, and it's working right now. Don't know how well it's going to work come playoff time, but we should see. But right now, that's my pick. All right. How about Sixth Man of the Year award right now, starting with you, Flo? Who's your pick?
LA, I have to go with Sweet Lou Williams of the Los Angeles Lakers. Also, keep in mind, if you're the Lakers, you definitely got to think about see if you can get a draft pick in return for Lou Williams. The trade deadline, ends on Thursday, 3 p.m. You got to move this guy. See if you can get some value back. Maybe you contact the Wizards, but Lou Williams.
Very true, very true. I hear that. Definitely one of the better one of the better guards right now in the league. Averaging 18.6 points per game, 2.3 rebounds, 3.2 assists. He's one of the guys I looked at as well, but he wasn't my pick. But I'll tell you mine in a few. How about you, Danny D? Who's your pick for your sixth man? Thank you for that, Flo.
Sixth man of the year who's trying to turn back Father Time is my man Zebo, a.k.a. Zach Randolph from the Memphis Grizzlies. I think he's averaging around 14 points, and he was a starter coming off the bench. And when they needed him to step up in big games, he was averaging 21 points. So I'm going up to my man, Zach Randolph, Memphis Grizzlies, 6th man of the year.
Okay. Thank you, Danny D. Nice pick right there. I definitely understand that. And, he went to the bench and didn't really argue about it, He basically showing he's a team player right now. So got to give him credit for that as well. But for me, I picked Marcus Smart from the Boston Celtics. He's averaging 10 points a game, 3.8 rebounds, and 4.6 assists. The big reason was their record is 37-20 at this time. They're basically second in place. He also plays with a lot of the point guards that Isaiah Thomas doesn't really hold that well because he's a very bad defender on a lot of times. He's a very good scorer and prolific scorer, but a lot of times Marcus Smart gets that assignment with the better point guards and the guards in general sometimes, with him and Avery Bradley. So to me, I picked him as my 6th man right now. And going to the next topic would be most improved player. Who's that for your pick right now? Starting with you, Danny D.
Most improved, I'm actually going to go with who was off the bench, who's now a starter. I'm going with Dennis Schroeder from the Atlanta Hawks as the point guard, starting point guard. And Atlanta and didn't miss the beat with having him playing out there. So I'm going with Dennis Schroeder for most improved.
Okay. Hard to argue with that one. Thank you, Danny D. How about you, Flo?
Believe it or not, that was a tough decision, but I lean towards the Greek Freak in Milwaukee. Right now, starting for Milwaukee, big point guard, with long hands. He's having a great season. So the Greek Freak definitely is my choice of the most improved player this year.
Hey, get your hand in my pocket, Flo. That's who I picked, too. I picked Giannis. He definitely put up better numbers this last year. 23 points, 8.6 rebounds, 5.4 assists, 7.3 free throws attempted, and 2 blocks per game. And made his first All-Star appearance, I believe, as well. Everything he did compared to last year is better. And he did a pretty good thing last year. So I had to go with the Greek Freak as well. And how about Rookie of the Year? Thank you for that, Flo. How about Rookie of the Year for you, starting with you this time, Flo?
LA, believe it or not, I got to go with your boy, the process, Joel Embiid, Philadelphia.
Good pick. That was my pick, too.
That's going to be everybody's pick.
We got 20 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, and 2 points, some assists, I believe. Although he only played like 30-something games, I think, 31 or so. That's the only thing that could hurt him down the road. But to me, it's no doubt. He definitely showed he's the best rookie of the year right now. Thank you for that. You said you agree with that one as well, right, D?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 2 more spots right there, listeners. Let's start on the last one before our last one would be defensive player of the year. So on with you, Danny D. Who's your pick for that?
I'm picking the big man out of Utah, Rudy Gobert, who's holding down the paint for defensive player of the year. I'm going Rudy Gobert.
Okay, thank you, Danny D. How about you, Flo? Who's your pick for defensive player of the year?
Gotta go with Kawhi Leonard, the San Antonio Spurs. Great defender. He can definitely guard multiple positions. He can guard opposing teams' point guard, shooting guard, and small forward. Definitely, Kawhi Leonard, defensive player of the year of the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay, thank you, Flo. It's definitely between those two at the end. I agree with Danny D this time. With Rudy Gobert, I picked him as well. He had 25% of the team rebound, second in block percentage, and led the league in points allowed at 94.9. And he also had a 4th best in defensive rating. And I was just looking at it, he also led the lead in blocks with 78 at the time when I was looking at the stats. So he's really doing well for that Utah Jazz. He's definitely the anchor for that team. I just think overall that team wouldn't be the same without him right now. And he's definitely had a full impact compared to some other players. So that would be my pick right now. And for our final award, most valuable player, starting with you this time, Flo. How about you? Who's your most valuable player right now?
Tough decision, but I went with the king, LeBron James in Cleveland, over Russell Westbrook. So LeBron James is my choice for the MVP this year.
Okay, you went with the king. Hard to argue with that. How about you, Danny D? What's your pick for the most valuable player of the year right now?
Most valuable, I might have to go with James Harden. Because if Russell Westbrook if they keep on losing, And him getting triple doubles doesn't make any sense to get triple doubles and losing. So I'm going with my man James Harden because he's getting triple doubles and they're getting the W.
Okay. Thank you there for Danny D. I was right there with both of y'all, but then I picked someone, a little different. I picked Westbrook right now. I see where you're coming from with the wins, but last time I checked, he's only maybe like 3 or 4 wins, a little lower than them at this time. And if he does the triple-double, it's going to be really hard to go against that right now. It hasn't been done since Oscar Robertson did it. And just looking at the numbers right now, Westbrook is at 31 points per game. Harden's at 29. Westbrook at 10.5 rebounds. Harden's at 8.3. 10.1 assists for Westbrook and 11.3 assists for Harden, I should say, right now. So it's really hard. They're both very close. But I just look at the whole team as a whole and just look at, I think Harden has a little bit more pieces that's working for him. And, right now it's a toss-up. Ask me next week, it might be Harden. Right now, I'm still sticking with Westbrook. But thank you, fellas, for that. Appreciate that. And that's pretty much our final segment. And if anyone else have anything else to like to state, before we go into closing remarks.
Phil, gotta make a trade.
Any trade you think about overall, or he just gotta make the deal we spoke about earlier with the Lee and things of that nature?
Definitely, he has to pull the trigger on the Courtney Lee trade. That's number one. And number two, as I would love to move Derrick Rose only if you cannot sign Jrue Holiday to a free agent contract, then I'll definitely move Derrick Rose to Minnesota for Ricky Rubio.
Okay. Thank you, Flo. That's some of the things we talked about in our previous podcast. So, we pretty much what we think about that. Like I said, I really don't want to move Rose unless we could really get a knockout deal you have to make. I really want to keep that money open, see what happens. Also, I think with the draft, it's still going to be a lot of guards there. If we can't get Holiday, that we could take a chance at as well. And also what free agency has. Still some time left. Still trade deadline is coming up. So we'll see what happens. But, right into our closing remarks, starting with you, Danny D. You got any closing remarks for today?
Just want to thank the fans and keep on subscribing, keep them showing the love, and keep on supporting, man. Appreciate it, guys.
As always, thank you, Danny D. Really appreciate you being on the air as well. How about you, Flo? What's your closing remarks for today?
As usual, I want to thank all the listeners. Please tell a friend, subscribe. Also, I want to thank my colleagues here, my buddies, my comrades. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this great show, Knicksfandom. This is an A-list show for A-list fans, Knicks fans, and NBA fans all over the world.
Thank you, Flo, as well. Much appreciated, brother, as always. Thank you couldn't do the show without y'all guys. Thank you very much to the listeners, as always. Make sure you share the episode. Let the people know we're doing our best out here. We're trying to get better every episode. And, please consider spreading the word. Have a great week. Take care. See ya.